evening, folks. It's Monday. We're back, Niners Coast to Coast, and we haven't talked about the draft yet. So, overall, just overall, we'll get into details here in a minute. How do you guys feel about the draft? We'll start with Ty.
Yeah, overall, I thought it was a good draft, right? The 49ers don't have many immediate holes, but looking at the future, there's holes a coming. So I thought a lot of pieces that they grabbed addressed that. And, there were solid players. A lot of players, took advantage of that COVID year. So they stayed in school for that extra year. They're fifth year seniors. So they got to, really work on their game and level themselves up and, come in not as these raw prospects that we normally draft, right? Sometimes we draft a guy and he's like, oh, he's raw. None of these guys are raw. So I can see them, possibly contributing sooner rather than later if need be and being okay. So I thought it was a good draft overall.
Bryant, buddy, how do you feel about the draft overall?
Overall, I think it was a great draft. I really do. I like what Ty was saying, maybe not necessarily drafting for this year, drafting for maybe next year or a year from now. Somewhat like the Niners do, so you can't be too mad at, they are doing what we expect. And, looking at some of these guys, you got to be really excited. I know not everyone is, but I definitely am excited to hear what Tyreek Owens is going to do. I'm also excited to see what our boy Tanner Mordecai is going to do. Yeah, I'm really excited. And yeah, I mean, overall, you can't really give them a bad grade. And in a couple of years, the only reason they'll have a bad grade is if these players aren't on the team or something devastating happens. And it looks like we're going to have some wide receiver competition. And we got some depth at the offensive line. So I'm really excited, really. And, I don't think anybody said this before, or maybe we haven't said it enough, but Dominic Pooney, don't we all need a little bit of Pooney? I mean,
that's
like,
right.
Right?
That's right. Who doesn't like a little Poonie Tang?
Now, I have to agree with that. You can't grade this draft. Like,
No.
I just don't. I won't, because you don't know what the players are going to be until they hit the field. We might not see that until 2025 with a lot of these guys, depending on, what happens during the season. Like, last year we had injuries at safety. We saw Jair Brown come in, right?
Yeah.
Year
but
before,
had that injury
Brunskill,
not occurred, we wouldn't have seen Jair Brown at all.
That's true. That is true. We would not have seen him. Just in maybe 3 safety sets. That's about it, right? But when it comes to, the year before, Spencer Burford, he was not going to be the all-starting right guard until Brunskill got hurt.
Yep.
Then here we go. The year before that, what was it? It was Mostert that got hurt, and then here comes Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, there's always a need for a rookie to start at one point, but we're hoping we don't see that, folks. We'd like to keep the team healthy. We got great players all up and down this roster.
Yeah.
Overall, I was disappointed, in the first round when I didn't see us trade up, but I think there's a reason why we didn't, right? Because maybe the guy that they would have traded up for took way too early.
Yep.
Like maybe a Joe Alt or a JC Latham. These guys were like 5 and 7. That's when they went.
They were going early.
Yeah, and maybe that's what those were the guys the Niners were really valuing to the point where they would have traded half the farm to get there, but they didn't. They stood past at 31, picked a wide receiver, and I don't think any of us saw that coming.
Nobody.
Let's be honest.
Nobody.
Bryant. Hey, you pick the QB, Bryant. Come on.
I said it was going to be anything but O line. But yeah, I think because of the Chiefs moving up and getting what Xavier Worthy, I think that
Yeah.
might have influenced the Niners taking a wide receiver too. I think that's something to think about.
Yeah, I think we all said the 49ers would take a wide receiver at some point. And, just because we got guys, their contracts are going to be up. We need a young guy that we have on the contract for a few years. So we knew we were taking a wide receiver. If you look at that first round, there was a little run on receivers there. And just because we're picking so low, I think it might have been some influence. All right, let's get this guy now.
Yeah.
Because most of the draft grades said that Ricky Purcell was not going to escape the second round. He was not getting out of the second round. And because we're picking so low in the second, it's like, all right, we got to get this guy now because he's not going to be there at 62. So I think that was a bit of an influence to get him there.
I don't hate the pick.
No.
You can't. Yeah, I want to see him hit the field and see what he's got. Get some real evaluation going on here.
Exactly.
Because you watch the college tape all you want, that doesn't say anything about what he's going to do in the NFL.
Will it translate?
Tell you what? Yeah, it'll tell you what he did in college. Yeah,
that's always the big question. Will it translate to the pros? Fingers crossed. Yes. You think it will. You hope it will. But will he actually put it together?
I mean, at 4.41 40, that's pretty good. Debo's 4.48 and Ayuk is 4.50.
Yeah.
So he's a little quicker than those guys. Not a burner, but right between, right? 6'1". Yeah. So he's a hair taller than those guys, but good route runner. When it comes to the system fit, I think he's a good system fit.
I think that was a big key to it too. He's a perfect system fit. He's like a Ayuk light as far as route running and such, right?
Yes.
So if you could have like two of those type of guys on the field, it can work very well for you. So I see what Kyle is thinking in that making that selection.
I would say this is almost a in between Debo and Ayuk player because this guy can play in the middle, but he's very aggressive. And I would say I would almost say he's more closer to like Debo aggressive, where he leans into that. He wants to take your head off it and he wants to hit you. He wants yards after contact, not after the catch.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100% in what you just said, because I actually thought the same thing. Like, he's got traits of Ayuk plus some traits of Debo in him. So you can mesh that together in one guy. That gives you a really good receiver that you can lean on the field if one of those guys goes out, right? Because right now the depth chart, you would easily say that it's, Ayuk, Debo, and Jennings, but it's always with the 49ers. Who's that fourth guy? Who's that guy that's going to come in when one of those guys goes out? And, it's like, Danny Gray, Ray McLeod. There's a bit of a drop-off there. But now you got a guy that has a little bit of both of your top two guys. If he can put it together, your offense shouldn't miss a beat.
If this guy's as good as they say he is, I would put him above Jennings.
Well, that's what I mean. Just right now, without seeing him on our field with our quarterback, putting it together against our defense.
Yeah.
I can't put him up there, but I'm with you all the way in that. If his game translates to the pros, and we've seen he's already worked out with Brandon Ayuk, he's working out with Debo Samuel. If that translates, then yes, he leapfrog to number 3 on the depth chart immediately.
Man, it almost seems like they're making Ronnie Bell sit down, and they're almost telling Danny Gray to pack up his bags at this point, huh?
It's a deep wide receiver room. What you going to do?
How many do you
What you
think we
going to
keep?
do?
We usually start out with about 12 in camp.
Mm-hmm.
We settle around between 10 and 8, I would say. How many do you think we keep? I seen that picture on Instagram. It looked like we had 10 guys in the wide receiver room.
Yeah.
I think we have 11, including a guy from, is it the CFL?
We signed some guy.
Is that Tay Martin?
No.
So Tay Martin's been on the roster for a few years on the practice squad. He's been on for like 2 or 3 years. We drafted him.
I know we signed a guy from either like the like the CFL.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. I honestly don't know the details on the guy. You know, the chances of him making the roster are pretty low though with this room, because you know you have Debo, Ayuk, Jennings, you know, Purcells, and then you know the second wide receiver we took in the draft, which you know Jacob Cowing, right?
Yep.
Then we got Ronnie Bell, we got Danny Gray, and then we're getting to the guys that are we're getting to guys that are on the bubble at this point.
Yeah.
You know,
your Chris Conley's, your Trent Taylor's, Tay Martin, who we mentioned before,
Tariq Owens,
you know, undrafted free agent, the guy from the CFL. Those guys are clearly on the bubble. Some of those guys are going to be practice squad immediately.
See, when they go and bring somebody like Trent Taylor back, it makes me feel like Conley's gone too.
I can see them trying to stash him on the practice squad in case of emergency, right?
How much are they paying him? Are they paying him over $2 million?
I don't think it's that much.
I think they signed him to the veteran minimum because you know, he played in Cincinnati the last couple of years, and he was behind a whole bunch of receivers. He really didn't get much playing time.
All right. Let's see if I can look it up real quick. But
you know, and our wide receiver room is going to be this competition is going to be interesting to watch.
Oh yeah,
and I mean from the Danny Gray standpoint is what I'm referring to.
Yeah,
because you know he runs a 4.33. He's probably the fastest receiver we have on the roster, and you know he's been with us 2 seasons. Last season, when he came back in the middle of the season, Kyle actually told reporters that there's just not a spot for him. You know, we don't have a spot for him. That's on the team.
You couldn't break the depth chart at that point because right now it was kind of set with our top 3 guys, and Ronnie Bell was there, and Ray McLeod. Like it was pretty much set. So like, what's he going to do? When is he going to get in? Somebody would have to have gotten seriously injured for him to get in there. And we talked about this with the young guys on the roster. When they're injured and they come back, there isn't this immediate, oh, we're going to plug you in. They get pushed to the bottom of the totem pole. And that's what happened with Danny Gray. He gets immediately pushed to the bottom of the totem pole. And now he has to see what happens with the guys in front of him, including like a Chris Connolly and Willie Snead. I believe they were above him on the depth chart at that point.
And, you know, his rookie year, he was our best gunner, Danny Gray.
Yeah.
You know, he was always down in there wreaking havoc, you know. I mean, I don't know if we're going to we normally keep 6, you know, and if we keep 6, I think the top 5 are set with these, you know, 2 draft picks and Jacob Cowing.
So do I.
Right.
So do I. I think those 5 will dress, 1 won't, and then 2, maybe 3 make the practice squad.
Well, and then you got to remember Ronnie Bell's preseason performance last year
was phenomenal. He was darn good.
So it's like, is he the shoe in for the 6th spot, or is Danny
Mhm.
Gray? Are we going to keep 7 and keep 3 tight ends? I mean, they can make adjustments to the roster and keep
Oh,
an
yeah.
extra wide receiver.
Yeah, most
But
definitely.
that's not really what we do.
Yeah,
Right.
that's not what we do. And it depends. Maybe this year Kyle focuses more on the skill positions and says, "Nah, I need that extra receiver. I need that extra guy."
Yeah.
You don't know. So we
Well,
got to see how they build this thing, depth chart wise.
I keep thinking, like, why would Kyle draft 2 wide receivers? And let's get into Jacob Cowing, while we're talking wide receivers. 5'8", 168, not the biggest guy.
All right. Let's run through this then, David. Ty, Brandon Ayuk, is he going to be on the team?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Is Ronnie Bell going to be on the team?
Yeah, I think so. Even if it's just practice squad.
Okay. Chris Conley.
Ooh.
I think he's going to be cut, maybe practice squad candidate.
Yeah, I can see him being on the practice squad.
I need a yes or no, guys. We're going to put Ronnie Bell on.
Well. Does yes include practice squad or not?
Yeah, because right now I have 11
No,
players.
you're just talking 53-man roster, right?
53-man roster. Okay.
So this is from 2023. Brandon Ayuk, Ronnie Bell, Chris Conley, Danny Gray, Juwan Jennings, Tay Martin, Ray, Daz Newsome, Devo, Willie Snead, and Isaiah Winston. That was last year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11. So we're going to go through it real quick. If they're on the team, you say yes. If that means practice squad, that means 53. 11. Okay.
Just on the team. Gotcha.
Brandon Ayuk.
Yes.
Yes.
Ronnie Bell.
Yes.
Yes.
Chris Conley.
Yes.
No.
Okay. Danny Gray.
No.
Juwan Jennings.
I'm going to say a no there too. Jennings, yes.
Yes.
Tay Martin.
No.
No.
Ray McLeod.
Well, he's already gone.
Okay.
He signed as a free agent somewhere.
Daz Newsome.
No.
Devo Samuel.
Yes.
Yes.
Willie Snead.
No.
No, he's already gone.
Isaiah Winstead.
Nope.
No.
This is last year's list, right?
Exactly. So out of last year's 11 guys, we're only keeping 5 out of the 11. That's a breakdown between all of us. We might argue or disagree about 1 or 2 players, but we have an agreement about 5 players will be coming back from our wide receivers last year.
Yeah.
So that means Owens' his son's making the team. That means the other 2 wide receivers we got this year is
we drafted. Yeah.
That's 8. That's 8 wide receivers right there. And then we still can bring in a couple of the wide receivers we were just talking about, or go and get somebody else that's on a bubble somewhere.
Most definitely.
Well, and we're talking practice squad and 53 here. So, I mean, Danny Gray, he has to show up and show out just to be able to make the team. If he gets cut, I don't think we're going to be able to sign him back to the practice squad because I think another team is going to take a chance on him.
Oh, yeah. I think his feelings will be hurt. I don't think he'll want to come back.
That's
true.
You
never know. If it's his only opportunity, then you're like, yeah, I'll come back. But if another team extends, him an offer, I'm sure he'll go and make the jump.
Yeah. And on top of that, there's some teams don't have good wide receiver cores like us too.
Yeah, they're not as deep.
You can't count on them being picked up by everybody. That's not going to happen. Yeah.
Danny Gray to the Kansas City Chiefs. You heard it here first.
Oh, man.
You can see them making a move like that. Just bringing the speed guy, Even they tell him just do one thing.
They
just
did
go
that
deep.
with Worthy. He's 4.21. What was his projection? Late second, early third?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That was his projection.
Yeah.
And they jump up and snag him in the first.
Grabbed him. Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting move by them, but you never know if the guy's going to work out or not. He's a rookie, right?
It's the same thing with every draft pick, from the first overall to the last one, to the undrafted free agents. You don't know. You hope, but you don't know.
Oh, Aaron saying Danny Gray stays and Conley would be the odd man out.
Yeah, those two, you never
Could
know.
be.
Like I said, they're near the bottom of that totem pole. The only thing I say gives Chris Conley the upper hand is when he was called upon to play in his limited time, he actually did contribute. He made plays. All right. He wasn't out there just doing nothing. And I think when Kyle sees a player do that, he likes that. Kyle's actually mentioned him by name in one of his postseason press conferences. So that's why I say he'll have a leg up on Danny Gray as of right now. But David, like you said, if Danny Gray comes in and just balls out during OTAs and training camp, it's a whole different ball game. So we'll see.
That's true too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're talking wide receivers. What about these defensive backs that we drafted? Renardo Green.
Mm-hmm.
All kinds of upside here. He's physical. He had a lot of penalties, but that was him being physical.
He's an aggressive guy.
And what I saw tape wise, I think we can fix just coaching him up.
Yeah.
You just have to teach him to, you can come up and get, check the guy in the first 5 yards, but then you got to keep your hands off, until you're downfield. Then you look back for the ball and you maul him.
Yeah.
You're looking back for the ball when you maul him, so it's legal.
Ball. I'm just fighting for it, ref. It's 50-50 ball. I have every opportunity to go after that ball too. I was fighting him off.
Yeah, that's something I laugh at that rule, because it's like the defensive back, all he's got to do is look back, and then he can maul the wide receiver, no look style.
Yeah, they'd be running right into the guy, pushing him. I'm looking back. It's the wildest thing.
And obviously, we have Lenore, Ward, and Hufanga coming up free agents.
Yeah.
Hufanga's coming off the ACL though, so we'll have to see how his season goes. I haven't heard many reports on where he's at with his, rehab. There really hasn't been much news, which I do find kind of scary.
Because it's still relatively early. Like, people forget he got injured in the second half of the season.
Yep.
And everyone's like, oh, well, he should be okay for training camp. That's not the way ACLs work. Unless you're just an athletic freak like Jerry Rice and Adrian Peterson, who those guys came back in like 6 or 8 months. Most guys take a full year to recover. And I'm talking about a full 12 months. So for him, it's still early.
Hey, you remember back in the day, an ACL tear was a career ender.
Your career was done, no matter what sport you were in.
Yeah, your career is done. You're not going to be running anymore.
Nope.
And these days, how medical technology has advanced, and sometimes it doesn't go good. There's the success surgery happens way more often than the guys that have issues with it, though, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just waiting to hear news on Hufanga, because we drafted a corner, and that tells me that we're not going to be keeping Ward and Lenore long term. Not both of them, maybe one of them.
I don't think both,
but not both of them. And then we drafted Mustafa, the safety.
Yep.
Right. And he fits what we do. 100%.
Yep.
And could this possibly be Hufanga's replacement?
Yep.
We can't keep everybody. I hate saying it because I'm a big Hufanga fan.
Oh yeah.
But Hufanga just might not be healthy. And that's the reality of it.
That is the reality of it.
What he said.
We don't know anything the Niners do, right?
Yeah. But just think about it logically. Like I just said, most guys take a full 12 months to come back. So at the beginning of the season, you don't expect him to be there. And within the entire roster, like that opposite safety is the one real question mark, because we don't know like who would be there opposite Jair Brown because of Huff's injury. So when you draft a guy like Mustafa, you're like, all right, he's automatically projected to be that guy. But Odom is more a special teams guy.
He's an all-pro special teamer.
Yep.
You know, but at the same time, you know, depth-wise, he's decent. You know, he'll get you through a game or two.
Yeah.
Long term, you don't want him starting though.
Exactly.
You know, he's an all-pro special teamers. You know, that's just is what it is.
And that's where we need to maybe, you know, not trying to hate on anybody or anybody's career, but maybe that's what position we need to move off of. You know, because when you're only special on teams in one area, I mean, I'm looking at you, Tabor Pepper. Can you do something other than just long snap? I mean, can you snap? Can we get you in shotgun formation? Can we start getting, you know what I mean? Like, we need players that are versatile. So when we go back to the wide receivers, and the wide receivers are also gunners, they're also playing other positions where we do stash them on special teams, just like running backs. You know, so if Odom, you know, who's a career special teamer, but when we need him to play on defense, he's not somebody we want on defense. How special is he?
Yeah, I don't think they'll, because
you know what I mean,
long snapping. I know what you mean, but because long snapping is so vital,
and the reason
I don't think they want him to do anything but focus on that one thing.
The reason I keep on saying stuff about the long snapper too is because we had Kyle Nelson, and he was also a backup tight end.
He's backup tight end.
He could do something other than
use him at tight end.
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm getting at. That's just a point, you know. And it's like with Odom, if you're only good on special teams, you're only good running down and tackling. But when we need you to play defense, and you know we got you listed as a linebacker, and we don't want you on the field ever as a linebacker, you know, maybe we need to get somebody else. You know, maybe we need to, you know, put somebody else in there who can run down the field, like a Conley, who can run down and tackle. You know, that's just my point. Yeah, you know, if he can't catch the ball, at least he's fast enough to run down the field, right? Maybe he can tackle too.
Yeah. I think some guys,
got a great chat going on. I'm showing everybody on the screen, obviously. How's it going, everybody? Thank you for
those
coming.
guys. You know how it is. Oops, sorry. You know how it is with special teams. If you're a good special teamer, if you're that core guy, that great cover guy, you know, whatever you do, that great open field tackler, they won't mind just leaving you there. They be like, that's our core special teamer. He's got to stay. He helps flip the field. He's that guy. But like, if you're fringe, you got to do extra stuff. You got to contribute in some other areas.
Yet to be seen.
Whenever he wants to be.
Yeah. Yeah. But
no pressure.
And you know, that's pretty much the defensive backs we took. They're both good fits for us. Renardo Green, he's handsy, but it's nothing that the coaches can't fix. Yeah. So, you know, well,
but tall, long arm corner, and he plays outside, but they're projecting maybe he could play a little bit on the inside. And the last time they had an inkling of that, where they drafted a corner who's outside, they're like, we think he can play inside as well, was Diamador Lenore. And you see this season, they kicked him inside and it worked out pretty well. So I'm going to trust their defensive back drafting room to make that evaluation and say, okay, I'm good there.
You know, I think the Jaguar game was his Jaguar. Shout out to my ex-British girlfriend. She'd be yelling at me right now. But, that game is when we switched him to nickel and started bringing Ambry Thomas in.
Yeah.
And, he played pretty good during that game, but it kind of seemed like, switching back and forth, it took him about another week of practice, and then bam, he's just flipping the switch. He's a nickel. Nope. He's an outside. And it's like having an extra linebacker out there when you're, running him nickel. So, I mean, the guy can hit.
He's not afraid to be physical.
DeAndre Swift, he knows all about that.
Yeah, not even Swift, though. If you look at some games, he's getting in there on run plays, getting dirty, hitting people. I mean, he's not afraid to get in there and mix it up. Let's look at the second Seahawk game when he was going at it with DK Metcalf, who seems like DK is a full foot bigger than him, extremely much bigger than him, and he wasn't backing down from him at all. So he's not afraid to get in there and mix it up. And that's what you need with a great nickelback, who can help be a force against the run, help get in there, hit tight ends on quick throws, and also cover downfield.
Yeah, I really like Lenoir. I honestly believe there was a report that they were in contract negotiations with him, but we haven't heard anything since.
Yeah.
So maybe that's who Lenoir is. He's the type of guy I'm just not going to say anything. I'm going to kick back, get paid. I'm going to take the Nick Bosa effect. I'm just going to disappear and do what I do.
Well, all the focus has been on Brandon Ayuk.
Oh, big time.
Because, the big star receiver gets all the clicks and views. But we got plenty of guys who are entering the last year of their contract. That's not being talked about at all. So
that is so
hopefully,
true. Funny,
I'm pretty sure.
Banks,
yeah, exactly. Who talks about linemen unless it's the left tackle, right?
When it comes to Brindle, I'm kind of
exactly. We don't really want to talk about him. But yeah, there's plenty of other guys who are entering the last year of their contract, and hopefully they're behind the scenes, talking to their representatives, trying to get some type of extension done. Yes, I'm
telling you, Niner Empire's vast, man. We're everywhere. From old Bailey winning the belt in Philadelphia and sporting the Niners jacket, and we're everywhere. Right?
She's always repping.
She is. She is.
Did you see the Bills rookie receiver when he went into their meeting had on a Niners book bag? He was wearing a Niners book bag when he went to do their draft meeting. So,
oh man,
shows you we're everywhere.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yep. That's funny. Well, everyone's if you're a football fan, you're a football fan. You represent your team no matter what.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're drafted by another team and you still like that one team, you just kind of have to keep it hush hush. That's just the way.
Exactly.
Right.
Keep it on down low.
But I mean, so at this point, let's talk about the offensive linemen. Because, we didn't draft very many position groups in this draft. We'll talk about the running backs here in a second too.
Yeah.
But the offensive linemen, like Bryant said, everyone needs a little bit of Pooney,
Yeah.
And then we took Kingston, who projects to be, maybe the future right guard. Just depends on, what happens. He could be a practice squad guy, right?
Yeah.
He's kind of one of those on the bubble fringe players. We'll see how it works out. But I really like this Pooney, though. I really like that. He's honestly, both these guys are better pass blockers than they are run blockers. They're good run blockers, but they're better pass blockers. And then we drafted 2 wide receivers to go on top of, this deep wide receiver room that we already have. So it's kind of like, is Kyle starting to turn the corner here? Is he not going to be running the ball 35, 40 times because he's got, maybe James Richard Garoppolo at quarterback. Now he's got this, guy, Brock Purdy, and I think he believes in him. So I'm fully expecting Kyle to kind of start slinging the ball around.
Well, we saw that last season.
We did.
Kyle was trying to sling the ball around a little. So Kyle was trying to sling the ball around a little bit. And I remember in the Lions, in the most recent game, the Lions NFC Championship game, a lot of people were going nuts, going, run the ball, because Kyle was slinging it around. He was trying.
Yep.
He was trying. So it's been happening
that's what
over
our
the
offensive
season.
line is built to do, though. You know, the offensive line was kind of put together when we had James Richard Garoppolo, right? That's when all these guys were took. And, you know, we're going to be running the ball a lot and, you know, letting him throw it 20-ish times a game, you know.
Yep.
Now we got Brock, who passed it 39 times against the Packers. Yes, you know. So it's kind of time to start heading a different direction with the offensive line if you're going to be passing the ball a lot. And that's what they're doing. You know, like the free agent centers, the two centers we got, Nugent and Mays.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they both do great, you know, good at run blocking and a little better at pass blocking than run blocking. That's the going theme for the 4 rookie linemen that we currently have. You know, and I honestly think that it's a change of direction because we're about to have an expensive quarterback, and, you know, paying that kind of money for something, you're going to want to use it. Right.
Yeah. Well, it's expanding the offense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's when we go back, we look at that, 2021 draft, when we had the 3rd pick, we knew we were going to get a quarterback. Forget the names. Once again, we were excited to bring in a new quarterback because we wanted someone who just wasn't afraid to attack the entire field, right? He would throw outside the numbers. He would throw the deep ball. He would do all these things. That's why we were excited. So now Kyle finally has his guy who's not afraid to do all that. Now he can expand his offense even more and attack the field in different ways. That's what we're seeing. So, all right, let's change the philosophy a bit. Instead of these offensive linemen who are just maulers and great run blocking guys, but so in pass blocking, let's change that a bit so that I can attack the field more. Let's get guys who are better at pass blocking, give them a quarterback just an extra half second to a second. And now I can really take advantage of these things with all these speedy route runners that I've got also.
Yeah, and they took 2 more speedy route runners. So it's like,
exactly.
We have wide receivers, you know, just stacked on wide receivers, sitting on wide receivers, you know, like it's just the way it is right now, right? And then, you know, for going further into the draft, right, we draft a linebacker.
Bryant's smiling here and pointing. You got something to say, man. I want to hear it.
Yeah, Bryant, spit it out, buddy. Let it fly.
Well, I want to hear this, man.
I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy here. And I know the direction sounds like it's being switched in a certain way, and maybe it's a good thing. But how did Brock Purdy get hurt? What kind of play was it?
It was a play action pass play.
Oh, it was a pass. So maybe because our wide receiver was a hair too slow, maybe we got a fast wide receiver.
I'm not even going to let you do that.
Wait. Hear me out, though. Did he get hurt when we were running the ball? No. Was it a lineman who missed the block?
No, the block wasn't missed. It just was a terrible attempt at a block.
The tight end crap. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, I really like our linemen, you know, that we got. And if they are going into a direction where they're going to be better blockers, you know, better pass blockers, then you know, maybe the direction they also are going is just getting speedier wide receivers. And I can see that logic. I think that's what they nailed right here in this draft.
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. Really they're still gonna pound the rock. I don't think that's going away. But when Kyle wants to like let loose and unleash and open up this thing, it's like, all right, I want to throw the ball 4 straight times here. Well, he's got the personnel to do so, right?
Steve-O with the facts. That was that oblique injury when he didn't miss any games.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember right. But yeah, it's just interesting. Kyle gets him some shiny new toys, faster wide receivers, some offensive linemen that can pass block, and that now this all says one thing, folks. We're keeping Brock Purdy. Okay.
No.
We're keeping Brock Purdy.
No. Found it.
No, this Mordecai guy is just gonna come in and
I found it funny as heck that John Lynch did the Pat McAfee show, and he's like, "Yeah, we're really glad we got Brock, and we plan on keeping him here a long time." And people actually went on the internet and was like, "Breaking news: John Lynch, the 49ers are going to keep Brock Purdy for a long time." Like, no kidding.
Oh. It
Really?
only took him, 5 years to find him?
Really? But like, we all know that Brock's the guy. John Lynch has been gushing over him for a season and a half. Did you really need him to say that and try to put it out like that's breaking news? Like, come on.
Yeah, it's far from breaking news. That big contract, it actually won't hit the books until 2026, folks. So
I don't even think it will really hit until 2027.
Yeah, because I
think next
contract
year
expires. Let's see, it's 2025 is when his rookie contract expires, right?
Right. I think they'll give him a small bump next season, and even a smaller bump the season after 2026, and that like big number won't hit until 2027.
Just the way they structure, like Trent Williams and George Kittle.
Exactly, just the way they structure contracts. So like this whole freak out, people thinking, oh, next season we're going to play Brock $60 million and that's half our salary right there. That is not the way it works. That is not going to happen.
They're going to pay him less than what the 49er fans think he deserves. And he's going to take a lot less than what people expect as well, because he's going to get all these endorsements from other, contract, Toyota. You guys know
he was already getting them.
And yeah, and right now
Toyota's got corn.
And he's making barely anything now. So if he keeps that mentality, right, he'll be able to put other playmakers around him, and he can take almost like the Tom Brady mentality and keep winning with a lot of better players around him. I mean, you're going to still be making money. The longevity is just how much money do you want to make and how fast do you want to make it?
Yeah,
it's possible. You can still get to the same amount at the end of the race. I don't know.
And Brock Purdy's a farm. He's farm. He's a farm kid. He's corn fed. He's and he's endorsed by a corn company and Toyota. And is it John Deere?
John Deere.
Mm-hmm. Holy cow! These are big corporate. There's two big corporations there, and they're paying them.
Yeah.
So
and more are going to come. So he's going to do that, but he's going to get a good contract as well. I just think from our standpoint, and Bryant, I agree. Like, people are freaking out, like, oh my God, we're going to have to pay him $70 million a year. That's not the way it works. He's going to get good money, but it won't be all in 1 year. Like,
but Kyle was at the Brady roast. I did not see anything like that.
Yes, apparently he was scouting out Tom Brady for a roster spot.
Well, Tom Brady did say he'd come back if we need him.
We need a QB too.
Some idiot NFL insider is going to break that any day now. So you heard it here first on the Niners Coast and Coast show.
No, they had the podcast. They had the podcast a couple of weeks ago where he was talking about it. He's getting his haircut.
Yeah.
And he wants to come to a winning team. And he also said the Raiders or the Patriots. So it doesn't have to be a winning team. But then he said, with him potentially owning the Raiders, he doesn't know if the league would let him do that.
They let him cheat for 20 years. Why wouldn't he? Oh, I ain't gonna get into it.
Yeah, they let him cheat you know, quite a few times. And why wouldn't they let him play for the team he owns? You know, I mean, does he have enough power to fire the head coach? You know, if he gets mad, I mean that'd
He's
be
the
an
owner.
issue. I've seen him go aggro on the sideline quite a few
He's
times.
the owner.
Yeah,
The owner. You can do what you want. Didn't Al Davis
But,
coach
you
the
know,
Raiders
so
for 1 year?
Oh, Al Davis. Yeah, he coached the Raiders
Yeah.
for I believe a couple of years.
See, a couple of years. See, when you're the owner, you can do that.
Yeah, back in the early
It was
60s.
70s. It was 60s.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
He used to be with the Chargers, and then he left the Chargers and went to coach for the Raiders, and then
Raiders,
he bought the Raiders. And just one thing after another.
Well, you know, so we haven't gotten to the running backs yet, guys.
Oh, yeah. The juicy position.
Okay. So all off season, I've been
Mhm.
saying, you know, let's draft some offensive linemen that can pass block. Now, I'm not saying the Niners are listening to me. I'm just a little guy, you know. But obviously, they're heading
you're
in a
big in
direction that they
stature.
probably had this in their minds already long before I said it. And we have a change of pace running back or two. And that's something we haven't had since, say Raheem Mostert or Matt Breida.
Matt Breida.
Right?
Yep.
And now we have Garindo, who's a 4-3 guy. He can catch the ball, right?
Yep.
Who's the undrafted rookie free agent? Schrader?
It's a sound. I forget.
Yes.
Is that it?
Yes, Cody. And he's
Cody
the one who
Schrader.
could be actually better. He actually might make the team where our running back, the one you just said from Louisville, what did you say his name was again?
Garindo.
From Louisville. He might not make the team compared to our undrafted free agent, Cody Schrader.
And that makes that kind of puts Elijah Mitchell and Jordan Mason between a rock and a hard place, because Jordan Mason, every time we see him on the field running the ball, you know, he's doing a very good job. You know, a lot of people are like, he can't block. You know, okay. And then Elijah Mitchell, you know, last year he was actually able to stay on the field, but CMC did 90% of the workload here.
Yeah.
So, you know, I honestly think both those guys could possibly be on the bubble with these two running backs that we have. But we typically keep four running backs and then juice, so 5, right? So here we are. You know, we got CMC. He's not going anywhere. Let's be honest. Nope. I honestly think, you know, Garindo is going to make the squad. Although we did cut a 4th round pick back in the day, Joe Williams, right? So there's no guarantees here. I think Elijah Mitchell is going to make the squad because Kyle trusts him, you know. And then the 4th one, this is where it gets tricky, you know, because I like me some JP Mason.
Yep.
But then you got this new guy, Schrader, who can shred it. So it's like, I'm torn, you know. I honestly think we're going to keep the rookie because we'll have him under team control for 4 years. And then, you know, it might be goodbye to JP Mason, but he'll be picked up by another team, you know.
Yeah.
I could see the Jets or the Dolphins just swooping up on him.
I can see any team just because the way he runs. He runs hard, aggressive.
D'Amico Ryans could even say, hey, come here. You know? Yeah, that would be scary. He would be scary with the Texans.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's the business of football. Like we talked about earlier, Brandon Ayuk is not the only guy entering the last year of his contract. Elijah Mitchell and Jordan Mason are both entering the last year of their contract. Right?
Yep.
So Jordan Mason does not count against the salary cap right now. Elijah Mitchell does. So when you factor that in, and you're like, all right, we want guys as cheap as possible to do something, you can see Elijah letting him walk and maybe trying to sign Jordan Mason to some type of small deal, but letting him walk as well, because he might jump over that threshold all of a sudden, because he's right on the cusp, right? So you bring in these two younger guys and their change of pace backs. And I think Kyle always wanted some type of change of pace in the backfield. Like, you got your do it all with Christian McCaffrey, but you need a home run hitter. And if you look at that in conjunction with the offensive lineman, he brought in guys that have good feet. They can move. So when you look at our blocking scheme, and he likes guys to, hit their initial block and get to that second level, these guys can do that. And when you got a speed guy coming in behind that who can hit it and go, I think that's what Kyle wants. So you could see him changing up that way and like keeping these young, cheap speed guys over the veterans.
I think when we had Mostert, because Mostert was one of those players that bounced around from different plays, different teams. He was like on 6 different rosters before he got to the 49ers.
Yeah.
And then we get Breda, and wasn't Breda an undrafted free agent by us?
Yep.
Both of those were home run hitters. They were like almost both of them mini me, right? One was just a little bit bigger. But then we went and got Tevin Coleman. And Tevin Coleman wasn't like those guys. He would run up the middle. And that was like, we started out the game with Tevin Coleman, and then we'd put like Breda in or Mostert in, and then they would finish the game. It was like, boom. You see Breda had the big run against the Browns, I believe, and then Mostert had the big
started the game.
Yeah, and it was just like, after that, it really deflated the defense. But somebody did find out our formula to that kind of slowed us down when we got to the Super Bowl. They got a little bit away from it, and that the Chiefs, they with Debo and the way we were running the ball, that really that changed that was the first Super Bowl, right? But I think with this draft, by them going after 2 really good, really fast running backs, I think they're trying to mimic what they had in the past in that 2019 season. I could see us losing Elijah Mitchell, or even potentially retaining him because he could be like that Tevin Coleman. But Mitchell, I think we could get a value out of him, a potentially 4th round pick for next year. And I could see us getting something similar for JP Mason or Jordan Mason. The running back with many names. But I think those two guys will be on the verge.
Well, remember, we did that last year with who's the guy we traded to the Dolphins?
Oh, to the Dolphins.
Wilson. Jeff Wilson Jr.
Jeff Wilson. Thank you very much. Good old Jeff Wilson Jr. He's the same scenario. He was an undrafted free agent who stuck around with the team, did some good things at times, but was low on the depth chart. Here it is. He enters the last year of his contract, and we got guys ahead of him on the depth chart. Trade him away for a 5th round pick. You get something for nothing, right? JP Mason and Elijah Mitchell are in that same spot right now. I could easily see John Lynch doing the exact same thing with those guys. So, Bryant, you hit the nail on the head with that one.
Now, so Bebop is asking a pretty good question here. What's our biggest need still?
Backup quarterback.
But we got Mordecai.
We got Josh Dobbs and the Duck. We got the Duck.
Oh, we got Brandon Allen. Brandon the Truth Allen.
Yep.
I'm giving him that nickname. He's the truth.
But I'm honestly thinking, at this point, could we use a good tight end? Yes, I think we could.
For me, the biggest need would be backup tight end. Because that's just
You know,
a big question mark. Like if George Kittle hurts his big toe, who we gonna put in there? And what are they gonna do? What are they gonna be?
Let's go, Cameron.
Like Cam Latu.
Yeah, we have Cameron Latu, who I call Cameron Lahu just because we don't know anything about the kid. You know, he could be the next tight end. Let's be honest, we don't know anything. So,
like here's the thing, though. The last time we saw him was in the last preseason game versus Denver last year, and he actually showed up. He made plays. He flashed, but then, just like that, he was gone. Vanished, disappear, out of place. You never saw him again. So it's like, what happened? And I know he's injured, whatever, but hopefully he was one of those red shirt guys and he comes in and he's ready to go.
We can always push Juice over there, make Juice go play tight end, or
he can catch, he can run some routes.
Or Jennings, possibly. Make Jennings go out there and play tight end.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, we signed this guy that's like someone else's tight end 3, you know, and I think we got Pline, an undrafted rookie free agent, right?
Their body's there. We still got Braden Willis there.
We don't know what our rookies from last year are going to do.
That's what I mean.
You know,
like
Jordan Willis,
Braden Willis.
Saw him a couple plays. We didn't see enough of him to say anything, though. Cameron Latu got hurt, and they put him on IR before the 53 was announced, so he was done for the year at that point.
Yeah, so no one could steal him, right? I think that was that move.
Maybe the Niners know something we don't, because we didn't see enough of the guy. You know,
they clearly know more than us, but hopefully they were in the background training him up, getting him ready, and he has like an Aaron Banks type of emergence this season. I mean, that's the grand hope, right? Fingers crossed. And he really does something. Like I said, in that last preseason game, he did show up. So hopefully that is a sign of things to come.
Like a new hope.
I really hope so.
A new hope, or like
a new hope.
You know,
that's right.
Shout out Damian Lee.
Well, you know, he's right though. For players to develop, it says Kyle must get over his feelings and let players play and develop.
You preach to the choir here. Like, we talked about it on this
show. Kyle may have trust issues with rookies. Well, not may. Okay, he does. He does.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest here. He does. He has trust issues with rookies. And it's just the way it's going to be, you know. The only way they're getting in, we talked about it way earlier in the show. The only way they're getting in is if someone gets injured.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So it's a as necessity type of thing.
Yeah.
So
like, we need
this
you now.
year's draft class,
suit up.
I'm not expecting to know what we have until 2025.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. If Pooney comes in and whoops him, you know, and takes the starting right guard, or is he going to be a tackle? You see, this is something we don't even know yet.
Or even center.
I mean, at the Senior Bowl, he went in. He kind of struggled day one at tackle.
Yep.
But then they moved him to guard the next day, and he just ate. He ate his lunch.
He was eating. Yep.
So that probably, I'm willing to bet we drafted him to be a guard, and we're going to keep old McKivitz over there on the right. You know.
Yeah.
And you know the next couple seasons should be interesting, folks. When it comes to, hopefully we win a Super Bowl. And then that just makes it so it's not so interesting. Well, no.
Would it still be interesting? I mean, we're going to win the Super Bowl this year. And then it's how do we come back and win it in 2025, right? So we'll be keeping an eye on all that good stuff.
And then if we win it this year, I expect Bryant to do a stream with the Super Bowl next year shirt on. I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's the idea, though. Every year, Super Bowl. Every year we want to win it, but every year we want to be in it too. So Niners got a good chance. They really do. How much do you guys think that really plays into roster positioning? Because our friend Damian Lee points out, shout out to Willie Snead, and we kind of made reference to the wide receivers not getting a chance to start. So when you have like big name wide receivers who's got a big name with a big contract compared to a lesser known wide receiver, or maybe a wide receiver, or we can even say a player who's been to multiple teams for multiple years and just hasn't made it, like a Mostert, right? Isn't it hard to say this player right here deserves to start when he's been on 6 different teams and he's had 6 different seasons to play and he's not necessarily making that big contract? And then you sign somebody for, a big year because they had a big year, like a Debo or something like that. So you're like, whoa, this guy played really well, maybe 2 times, we give him a big contract. But then you got somebody like Willie Snead who's been on like 6 different teams, but he might be faster and he might be better than Debo, but he's had that opportunity like 6 different times. And the Niners went ahead and made the decision to go move forward with somebody like this. And can you really tell that person, Debo, to sit down now? You can't. That contract, he has to play. Wouldn't it be a bigger, it's like shame on the 49ers if they make Debo sit down and they say, oh, well, this guy over here who's been on 6 different teams, oh, man, whoa, we got to really play him. But we drafted this kid over here and we own his rights and we're not going to play him and we already give him the farm. So we're okay. You got to kind of let that other guy go. And like the only way I think it works out is like a situation like a Tom Brady where you have Drew Bledsoe. He's a veteran quarterback. He's got a good contract, but he was getting to that. It was like a Cinderella moment for them, right? Like a fairy tale ending. He was opting at that position where they could opt out of him and let him go to a different team and they could move in with a younger rookie quarterback. And it didn't hurt the team because they were still successful with him for that season. But the next season, you can't have a situation where you have like a Trey Lance who's making more than a Brock Purdy. That doesn't make sense to have the starter making, less money than the guy on the bench. Yeah, that's why Kaepernick had to leave, right? That's just, come on. It's like,
don't bring Cap into it. That was a totally different situation. Listen,
but you know what I'm saying? That's why those players have to go because they determine and they ask for a bigger contract. So I don't know.
A contract aside, because there's like draft position and blah blah blah. But like, who are you, Willie Snead? Who are you? Why have you bounced around? Why are you on teams' practice squads? Because you're not better than, right? If you were better than, you would be on a team and be better, and be locked in, I should say. And let's look at just the 49ers. Are you better than Brandon Ayuk? No. Are you better than Debo Samuel? No. Are you better than Juwan Jennings at this point? No. Okay. So now you're fighting for the 4th spot and the 5th spot. And are you better than those guys? And when you get to that point, Bryant, like you said earlier, is like, can you contribute in more ways? Can you do more things? Right? Like a Ray can play special clouds and receiver. All right. Well, he's already got a leg up on you. Things of that nature. So there's a lot that goes into it. You can't just be like, oh, I'm a 6-year veteran. I've been on 6 different teams. Well, there's a reason why.
Yep.
And we came in, we gave you a shot. We see what you got, but you're not better than these guys. So you got to play your role. And that's the way it is. I can see if he's saying I couldn't compete against, Danny Gray or, the Ronnie Bell, those type of guys. But it's like, hey, we got to give the young guys a shot too. Like, and we've given Willie Snead a shot. He was always being called up on the roster. It wasn't like he was just buried in the practice squad. He did get in there and play. But it's like, what did you do when you was out there?
Well, he thinks he's a wide receiver 1. It's like,
And that's the thing. You know, for some wide receivers, their ego is big. It's like, come on.
Some would say their ego is bigger than their hair, or they would say that they are playmakers. And I would say to those playmakers, maybe you should concentrate on your rap career.
Well, you remember, this goes back a long time. Why are wide receivers such divas, guys? I mean, like, position-wise, you never hear, like, you occasionally hear, like, one guy out, like a corner, one guy come up and, you know, he's a diva, okay, but the rest of the position group, it's just quiet. You know, you hear crickets. But then when it comes to wide receivers, it's like, you know, like Stephon Diggs, A.J. Brown had issues with his team. Stephon Diggs had issues with his team, got traded. You know, then you got
2 teams.
Yes. Yeah, he had issues with the Vikings and the Bills.
Yeah,
so,
he's 2 teams now. Like,
and
some guys are
honestly,
like that.
The Texans voided his year. He's going to be with them for 1 year. They voided all these years because they're like,
they basically ripped up his contract and gave him a 1 year. Yeah, 1 year deal. Yeah.
Yep. And it's always like Tyreek Hill, even he didn't. Tyreek Hill's not a diva. All right. Yeah, he has a problem, you know, but he's not a diva. And, you know, he's the cheetah. Yep. He's really fast.
Yeah, it's like some guys are, some guys aren't. It's just weird. I don't know. A lot of guys aren't, though. We don't hear like a bunch of wide receivers pulling that diva mess nowadays like we used to. A lot of guys are chill, but they're still out there.
Oh, yeah. Well, we haven't heard like Jamar Chase is up for a contract extension. We haven't heard his stuff, right? T. Higgins isn't happy about his contract. We've heard all about that. You know, all these other guys like St. Brown
Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb. You haven't heard anything. Haven't heard anything out of him, have we?
Nope. Nothing out of Dallas. Nothing out of CeeDee Lamb. The dude from Minnesota, the best of them all,
Justin Jefferson.
We figured he'd be all over the papers and the internets and everything, and not a peep.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
And I mean,
but we haven't heard anything about Brandon Ayuk either. The big news from him was he unfollowed the 49ers on Instagram. Ooh.
So Debo, and like Debo also like publicly requested a trade. Yeah, that really happened, didn't it?
But that's just you know the insiders and the fake insiders making stuff up to get their clicks and views, and we know what that's about.
Oh, I was looking at Bryant's picture, folks.
Yeah, but from them personally, we didn't hear a thing.
Soul. I'm not looking into your soul, folks.
Who's that? 83. Who's that?
Oh, that's Devin Culp, the tight end from Washington.
I gotta zoom it up. Ah, yes.
Yes. I was looking at it thinking, is that a Minnesota? But then you look at the helmet. No, that's not a Minnesota Viking.
It's Devin the Destroyer.
But, I mean, think about the wide receivers out of that class, though. You know, everyone was talking up Jerry Jeudy. You know, and
Jeudy was in that class.
CeeDee Lamb he's good, yeah. But you know, then they were talking Henry Ruggs. Oh, these are the top 3 wide receivers in the draft. This and that. Henry Ruggs, we all know what happened there. You know, Jerry Jeudy just got traded to the Browns, and they signed him to a kind of a mid contract.
Yep.
You know,
he's mid. He's been mid.
Yeah, exactly. You know, CeeDee Lamb's the best wide receiver Dallas has. You know, he's good. But then, you know, the guys that don't get talked about, you know, Justin Jefferson, Brandon Ayuk. And they're probably, you know, CeeDee Lamb and Ayuk. I honestly think Ayuk might have a leg up on him.
I do too.
But Justin Jefferson's the best wide receiver out of this draft. There was even another guy taken there was another guy taken, and I don't think any of us know his name. I'm actually going to look it up real fast.
Look him up. Who is it? There was a bunch of guys taken in that draft.
It was the 2020 draft,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And I mean, I think was it the Bills that took this guy? I mean, it was there was another wide receiver taken in the first round here. Henry Ruggs, there he is, the first guy taken. Second guy taken was Jerry Jeudy. Neither of them are with their team anymore, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Third guy taken was CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
Jalen Reagor
from the Eagles. He took him. Yep. He didn't work out.
Look at who exactly. He was actually taken right before Justin Jefferson.
Before Justin Jefferson, yeah.
And then we traded up to 25, I believe, a couple
we
spots
traded back
to
in.
Get Brandon Ayuk.
Yep.
And that's literally all the wide receivers in the first round. T. Higgins was the first pick in the second round.
Yep.
Michael Pittman Jr. to Indianapolis and the second pick in the second round.
Yeah. There's a bunch of wide receivers in there, and he got a good extension this offseason.
I mean, dude, there actually was quite a few good wide receivers in that draft class.
Yeah.
And it's just it's interesting how it all works out. Like Amon St. Brown came out in 2021. I believe he's a second round pick.
Yep.
So he had a 4-year contract. So here they are, extending him right now. I believe he's between year 3 and 4, right?
Yeah.
So here's Ayuk, between year 4 and 5. We could have done it last year, which probably would have saved us some money.
Well, yeah. He had a lesser year.
He had a
last
1,000-yard season. He didn't get 1,300 like he did,
right.
But he still had a 1,000-yard season. And it could have saved us some serious coin if they just would have done it last year. Yeah. But they were focused on Bosa.
That was the thing. You got to focus on, one thing at a time. And last year was all about Nicholas John Bosa, getting him locked up.
Yes, folks. Ty has the doggo, and the doggo walk around the background there a little bit.
Yep.
He's internet famous now.
She came downstairs to be nosy.
She's just wondering what Dad's doing, But anyway, do you guys have anything to add before we get on out of here?
No. Right. I just think it was a good draft. Oh, my fault. I jumped in there. Go ahead, Brian. No, I was just going to recap.
Ty, go for it, buddy. Go for it. Bryant looked like he wanted to say something. That's why I said his name. We'll let him go off here in a second.
Yeah, we'll save the best for last. But I just think it was a good draft overall. I think they addressed a lot of needs for the future, like not now, and picked up a lot of solid players who fit what the 49ers do. And I think that's the main point. These guys seem to fit what we do. And like we said, fingers crossed, if this all pans out, we can have guys that we can look forward to seeing for a few years to come here and be, good, solid contributors to the team. So I'm going to trust the process. I look forward to seeing these guys and, OTAs, training camp, and the preseason games, because that's when we'll really get a good look at them. And go Niners.
Bryant.
Oh man, yeah, I'm excited. Mandatory mini camp coming up this month, I think. At the end, like in the 20s, May 20s, somewhere around there. And it's gonna be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. The contract should get done because it doesn't sound like they're going to get rid of BA. And why would you want to get rid of BA? Everybody seems to be working out. Everybody seems to be contributing. They're getting the ball. There's only one ball, but everybody seems to get it plenty, and as long as we're scoring as many points as we are, I can see everybody, being happy. So really, really awesome. Looks like we're gonna have a couple players that are going to be competing, maybe because of injury, maybe not. So we'll see what happens there. And don't be sleeping on Tanner Mordecai. That's going to be my last final thoughts.
All right. He's gonna come in with a Tanner Mordecai jersey one day.
Right. I got the Willie, not the Willie Snead. I got the Ricky Parcells over here. You know, he's number 14. So I just repurposed that Sam Darnold jersey.
Well, I thought we had a good draft and mandatory mini camp coming up, folks. You never know what's going to happen. Will Ayuk show up?
Never know.
That's the question. That's the question, right?
Well, I think he will show up. It's just a question of, will he practice? Will he be on the field doing drills with the team, or will he be off on the side jogging and doing his own thing? Because that's what players do now.
Debo, like Debo pulling a Marshawn Lynch. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Yeah, that's what all players around the league do now. They don't hold out. They hold in. They show up so they don't get fined and just walk around dancing to the music. I'm here. So we'll see.
Let Kyle's kids throw the ball. That's what I say. Let Kyle's kids throw the ball to him a little bit.
Yeah, let them play catch. Kyle and the kids. Yep.
Hey, you never know what's going to happen, folks. Tune in.
Yep.
We'll have to see what happens in mandatory mini camp. And of course, we'll get a whole bunch of reports from there, but you never know what's going to happen.
Indeed.
You never know who's going to make the 53 until it's announced.
Exactly.
Right? All right. Everybody have a fantastic night. And, you guys got anything going on this week? I actually got a lot going on this week.
East Coast Red and Gold Show, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday night. Tune in.
That's right. Go see Jess, Bex, Maddie, and Ty.
That's right.
You guys have any guests this week? Probably, or you never know, huh?
You never know with Jess. She be popping up with people. So you never know. Just tune in for the announcement.
All right. Bryant, what you got going on?
Oh, probably same old as every other, night. Try to take over the world, and just turn on the notifications, folks. We'll be around.
We got a pinky in the brain reference, folks. I'm happy.
Zord.
So I'll be on tomorrow night. I believe it's 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with Bashar, 49er Minded. Wednesday, I'll be on 3:20 Pacific Standard Time with Ted. Mm-hmm. And then, we got the trivia Wednesday night, so I'm doubling up, folks. On top of working all day. So, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
There you go.
So, everybody, it's always go Niners. And as Corey Davis would say, F all 31 other teams.